Okay, can you guys believe it's March? Like, I cannot even believe it's March. I was literally, um, January was a blur because we had so many snow days and so much, like, it just feels like January didn't even happen. So I can't believe that February just in a snap was gone. This are all the things we have to talk about. I'm not even going to stress you out with that because you guys know I always try to squeeze everything in. Um, the first thing I wanted to do is just touch base kind of we're like in the middle of this semester. It really feels like more like the end of the semester because we're making so many plans for the end of the semester, but it is still the middle in terms of the grant. So I want to just remind you guys of that survey that you do at the end, to get your stipend, just to kind of reiterate the things that you're going to have to check boxes for. So, just kind of, remind you like what things you should be participating with kind of along the way. And most of it is attendance for the PLCs, right? And then the conference is on there as a mandatory attendance, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But I made it possible for you guys to go, all of you guys to go for free. So if you can go, and even if your students aren't going to be able to go, if you guys can go, that would be really ideal. But if you can't go, then, for legitimate reasons, then you can just let me know and it'll be fine. But if at all costs, my idea is for you guys to be at the conference. Because even if, you have, your students cannot attend for whatever reason, it's really beneficial, especially if you've never been before, to go so that you can bring back that kind of the concept and the idea and the feel for what it would be like for you guys to attend next year. So that is just something to think about. So this is the mandatory participation requirements. You're going to have like little, check boxes to fill out, right? And then for student learning opportunities, basically, holding your meetings, your chapter meetings, having kids participate, basically a lot of this is that encourage word, like you encourage them to sign up for the merit program. You encourage them to take the para-pro test if they are being offered that. You were utilizing the curriculum in some capacity, that kind of thing. And then the optional things there. But just kind of keep these things in mind because it is important to um, to be able to check off those boxes, right? And one of the things that we need was the work with. No, it was not mandatory. It was like encourage them to apply for it, basically. So if you encouraged your students to apply for it, you shared it with them, then you did your job, right? Um, and then this is for the research purposes. So that mandatory survey that I sent out to you all through an email, we're going to talk about today, that is something that I really need you guys to fill out. So make sure that if you haven't done that, that you do that because that's really out of this list, it's really the only sort of really important thing. Obviously, you keep meeting attendance records, and you turned in your meeting program of work thing to me, giving me feedback on things like all that kind of stuff is just like sort of anecdotal. When we get to the point for a renewal of the grant for next year, everybody's automatically renewed for next year, but you do have to re-sign that little thing that agreement that y'all signed that said you're going to basically not share the curriculum with anybody else and that you're going to follow these guidelines for next year. That isn't even ready yet, so you can't do that yet, but you will do that before the end of the year and then be able to check that box. And then, of course, filling out the stipend form is the last thing. So PLC attendance. So I know, like literally, I've been in your shoes. Attending another meeting is just one more thing I have to do. I know that when I see you in this meeting, I am super pleased and grateful that you're here because I know you have a million other things that you could be doing with this time. But it is important for you to attend in some capacity. So obviously being here is great because then I can just check in with you if need be. But if you cannot attend, then you do need to show some sort of action that you tried to attend. So in essence, you either need to watch the video and then do the attendance sheet. That's basically what I'm asking you to do. If you click on this link, you will see that I have put together like who's filled out the attendance sheet. Now, it may be that you attended or you watched the video and you just forgot to fill out the attendance sheet. So, that would be My ask is that you just look at that attendance sheet, that attendance record chart that I've kind of put together. It's a spreadsheet. And then if you need to watch a video or you need to do the attendance, I've linked the link to access those things from all the way back to January. So January and February are up there. And of course, today's will be also be up there as well for March. So if you ever miss a meeting, you don't get penalized because you were sick or because you have some other meeting or an IEP or whatever. Obviously, things come up. So go ahead and just watch the video and fill out the attendance sheet. That is the one thing that the grant program manager really looks at. They want to know that I'm in contact with you guys, all the time, that I'm offering you guys, face-to-face time. You guys know I'm here for you. And I don't think that they think that I'm just kind of sitting out here not doing anything, but I think that the PLCs really do reiterate the fact that you guys are attending these regularly. So really need to make sure that that is filled out. So for the stipend, you need to make sure that you get that done. Okay.
Could I
So,
interrupt for a second and just ask you to share your slides the way you did it the last time so that we can do the links, so we can click on the links as we go?
I think the slides are in the chat.
I have that one open, but when I go to click on the links, it's not letting
Oh,
me click on anything. It's letting me go through the slideshow, but the links, I on my end, I can't access the links. And
I
last time you had to do something different, and I was able to get it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, here's that link. Yeah, it's like a public link or a not pub or a view link or something. So that is the one you can click on the links, I think. Does that work?
Okay, let me go back and try it. Hang on. And you put that in the chat?
I just put that new one in
O-
the chat.
Okay. Sorry, I just like to do things, open it up as we go. I apologize.
No, that's okay. That's quite all right. I will actually update that in there. Okay. Um,
That's
so
that's working.
okay, perfect. All right. So there are a few people that still need to do the chapter meeting date. So if you see your name on here, then you are in, I guess it's a concern about getting your stipend because I do have to have this piece. So if your name is on here and you have not, submitted your meeting dates or your plan of work for the year, then you need to get on that and do that, okay? Because that is another requirement that they are having me really check on to. I'm not checking to make sure you have those dates, the meetings on those days. I'm not checking your attendance. I'm not checking any of that. I just need to know what the plan was for this year and that you had a plan, okay? So, dates to know for March. Like our calendar is shrinking. Every time I review the calendar, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have less things going on. Partially because there's no more competitions, right? So we're done with competitions. March teacher leader meeting with Libby. Again, um, that's the Maryland meeting that she would normally have. That is next Thursday, the 12th. Is that next Thursday? Yeah, the 12th. And that will be at 3:30. So if you can join that with Libby, great. If you can't, you're going to get a lot of the same information. Like I said before, again, if my role disappears, you will need to make sure that you do attend those meetings with Libby in order to get the information from the state of Maryland. The last thing for March is there is a showcase Zoom that is sort of it's facilitated by the National Implementation Director for Ed Rising, and she wanted volunteers to talk about any sort of quick takes or ideas that you had for the using the curriculum. So if you've used the curriculum and you really enjoyed it, your kids really enjoyed it, or you have want something you want to share, just send me an email or you can even drop it in the chat. I would love to talk to you about that. She wants somebody to come and talk at that Zoom and just kind of share thoughts from Maryland and what we're seeing. So like if you had some, connection that you made with utilizing it with our TAM program or the CDA program or something like that, then we would love to hear from you. And again, it's kind of a cool thing that you can add to like I don't even know, like your resume or things to do because it's like a national forum. And so you would be like a guest panelist or guest speaker for the national forum on the curriculum. So I think that that's really kind of a great opportunity. If you want to, participate in that, let me know. Um, coming up very soon, again next week, I guess also Thursday, we have the How to Pay for College Future Teachers Edition. It's the student to student panel. It's a Zoom session. Please encourage your students to sign up for that. I'll have the link and more information about that in just a second, but that is next week as well for your students. And then it kind of, combined April and May here because again, we're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty. We don't have as much going on. We do have a meeting in April. We have national conference deadline in April. The state conference is listed there twice. I don't know. I don't think we're going to attend it twice. The state conference is listed here. Oopsie. Which is in April. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the National Honor Society, but the deadline for that is April 30th. If they want to be put into the like program book for the year that goes for national conference. So I would encourage you to do it by then. If you do it after that, they can still be honor society members. But that deadline also helps you because, to be honest, if you do it much later than that, you're not going to have the items in time for graduation, like their cord or their certificate and that kind of stuff. So I would encourage you to stick with the April 30th deadline. I had a couple apply after that, just because they were running behind on things and they didn't care about being in the program book. But it was tight. We were like down to the wire before we got that cord for them to wear for graduation. So just, I would kind of stick more with the April 30th deadline for Honor Society. And then in May, we have your forms for the stipend, which, I just kind of reminded you about with all the requirements. Those forms are going to be completed in May so that we can get you guys paid, by the end of the semester. So just be on the lookout for that in May. In May, we also do a signing day. We're going to talk about that next month. If you've ever done a signing day, at your school or with your kids, please let me know because I would love to have you share, what you've done in the past. I'm going to have ideas for that. And then basically it's kind of similar to a signing day for, college or for student athletes, right? And we're going to encourage you and give you some ideas if you want to do that as well on your campuses there. And then we have a teacher leader meeting, and then there's also a teacher leader meeting with Libby in May. And it's my birthday, so we're going to celebrate my birthday too. My dates. Okay. I will check. Hope. Are you on that list of not submitting it? I don't know. Let me go back.
Oh, Shannon, I thought I had submitted it, but I submitted it again since I was on the list. So that way you definitely have it. Oh, wait, never mind. It said received. I thought it was if I was on the list, I didn't. Sorry.
These are the ones I got, and these are the ones I still need over here, the bigger ones in the black.
Sorry. I apologize. I didn't look at it close enough.
That's okay. That's all right. Okay, so for student to student, so this is what we are going to be. I'm so excited about this because we have people coming from all over the state of Maryland to talk about ways to pay for their college, different kind of formats. So we've got people coming from College Bound and from the Maryland Teacher Scholar, Harford County Child Care and Career Professional Development Fund, PG County Community College, Towson University, and University of Shady Grove to talk about all the different things that they have to offer for our students to be able to get their college degree for essentially for free, right? So there's different ways to do that. There's like para pathways. There's working in a child care center where they can get the Child Care Career and Professional Development Fund. There, are just obviously the Maryland Teacher Scholar program. So have them come to this because this is good information for them. Even if they're sophomores or juniors, it's important for them to know about this. Is actually, especially if they're younger, because they're going to need to know how to plan for these things. So make sure you share this with your students. It is going to be at a different time. We have been doing this kind of quote unquote after school. And so now we're offering it at 1:00. So the kids could be, you could set up a situation where it's like an in school field trip. You can give them passes to come to your room and watch it on Zoom on a big screen, or they can log into their Chromebooks or something like that. So just, we'll try to see if this 1:00 time works well for your kids. A lot of people wanted it to be during the school day so that they still had access to their kids. So just register, share this and have them register for it because I'm super excited about the panelists we have coming. Not only will we have those adults that run those programs, but we're going to have college students that are participating in those programs to speak about it. So, like people that have used that fund and people that are currently in that program are going to talk to our high schoolers about what it's like and how the process is and stuff. So, this is going to be I think, a really good, engaging conversation about how to pay for college. And everybody wants to know how they're going to pay for college, right? So share this with your students and, make sure that they register for that. Student membership update. We are, obviously not registering any more students at this time, but to get a final roster check, this is how you would check your rosters to make sure that everything is up to date. I've been working with a few people over the course of the past month and figuring out why some people weren't showing up or why some people aren't showing up or haven't been paid for or whatever the situation is. All of those things should be resolved. So this current last check will just strictly be you making sure that that we have everything in order. All of the people that you have on your list are actually student members that should be there, and that you have the right list, and we have the right list. Competition winners. So we just held our last competitions for the school year, and it was really cool because we had three different sort of regions happening at the same time. We offered one in Howard County that was hosted by MCPS teacher. We had one in Harford County, and then we had one in on the Eastern Shore. And so, Worcester County, I think. And so, we kind of simultaneously ran all these competitions. It was a little difficult to manage all that from the standpoint of me and Libby, because we could only be at one or the other, and one had to be um, on their own. But these are the winners. So we have in bold are the grant students that participated and won for these categories. So inside our schools, English and Spanish, and then researching learning challenges winners, and creative lecture winners here. And these guys all qualify to go to nationals. Oops, second place. Hold on a second here. Oh, oh, brother. This does not say second place, and it should. All right. So again, here are the winners for the interactive bulletin board. All the participants for interactive bulletin board were grant participants, so that was really exciting. And all qualified for nationals, which is also really cool. I have to say that Harford County really pulled it out. They had to pull their kids out of the competition at the last minute, like a couple weeks before they found out they weren't able to attend a certain site. And so what they did was they pulled together the competition themselves and held it in their county, which is really not that easy to do. They got judges, they got a space, they got everything held together. So that was really great. Honor Society. So here's the link to learn more about the Honor Society. And the Educators Rising Honor Society is a national distinction. So I would encourage your students to apply. There are some requirements. They have to have, I think they have to have a 3.5 GPA, and they can apply as juniors or seniors. And as juniors, they get a certificate for being in the Honor Society. And as seniors, they can get a certificate and cords to wear at graduation. And you know, as well as I know, that everybody loves some cords. So anytime they have a chance to have extra cords, it's really great. There is a fee involved with the Honor Society. I think it's $5 to register for that. And then there are, which is, much less than even like the National Honor Society or whatever. And then there is a fee for the cords for those seniors. I never made my kids pay for those. I used either fundraising money, or I asked my school if they could somehow fund it for me with some funds. I talked to my principal about that. So if you need ideas of figuring out how to fund that, we don't have funds in the grant set aside for that. I wish we did, but we don't. So they do have to you will have to figure out how to pay for that for them, or they may choose to just pay for it themselves, or their parents pay for it or something. But it is a nice, it's a nice thing for them to have, especially if they're going into the field of education in college. It's just, one more thing that kind of shows that they're serious about their career. And again, it's nationally a national honor, to be in that honor society. State officers has been chosen for the 26-27 school year, and here they are. And you can see there that we have four students that are grant school students. So yay, good job, everybody. You should be very proud because we had over, I would say 30 something people apply for this. It was a really hard decision to choose those state officers. And we also had, I think, four of them returning. So there really wasn't that many opening spots. Like, so four returning they didn't automatically get chosen, but they had a higher shot to be chosen because they had already done it. So there was really only like 6 or 7 spots that were available. And so I feel very proud that we have some grant schools that your guys' students were on that list. So good job for that. That's going to be exciting. And you can see here that we have representation kind of from all over the state again, which is super important. Um, Maryland conference updates. Okay, so we have some updates in this department, and the very first thing is the date. So Towson has decided that we're going to be offering the conference on Thursday, April 30th, and we're not opening up the May date yet. So we are going to due April 30th. So anyone that wants to attend has to has to register and then come on April 30th. If for some reason that date fills up, then we will open up the May date and have more spaces for people to attend. However, at this time, we are seeing last year we had like our record high of Maryland conference attendees. And we were hoping that this year would be the same, but we are already starting to see that, as many of you are aware, allocations and budget items and budget constraints and stuff has come out. And school systems are essentially just in crisis mode in spending. And so they are opting. We've heard from a lot of schools that they are not going to be able to attend this year. So we don't want to have 2 days without them being full. So they have decided to offer it for 1 day, which is going to be April 30th on Thursday. And hopefully that works for everybody's schedule. I know that some people had specified that they could only attend one of the days. I couldn't remember which one it was. But this is, a decision by Towson. And hopefully this works out. So April 30th is the day of the conference. By all means, just, consider that the day of the conference. And again, if in a couple weeks we find that day is filled up, we may open up May 1st. But I wouldn't count on that necessarily right now.
Shannon, I have a quick question about that.
Hmm?
I have a quick question about that. So May 1st is a PD day in my district.
Mm-hmm.
But but my students wanted to attend, so we found out that there was a conflict. There's a conflict for my school on April 30th because we have this huge annual event every year. So my students were willing to attend on May 1st, even though it's a PD day, no school. So that's where we are right now.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to attend. If it's not, are we still submitting? So fortunately, we had not submitted our date to finalize it, as far as I know, because it's being admitted, through the CTE office. So what is your advice for us at this point?
I think, well, so for all intents and purposes, we are, sort of saying the conference is happening on April 30th. If something changes and we are able to open up that second day, then I could just, quickly email you and say, or quickly email Cynthia or, those guys in the office and say, hey, if Western wants to be able to come on Friday, we just open that up, you can register those students. I just don't know if that's going to happen at this point, but I think, and that's really sad because I'd love to have your students there, but I understand all the conflicts. The one thing that we did discuss too, there's a lot of conflicts in attending because of the time frame that the dates that it happens, and so we are going to be moving. We met yesterday and talked about moving the conference up to March so that it's not going to conflict with this kind of situation that's happening now with a lot of schools that have other things going on. I mean, there are going to be conflicts in March too, obviously, but there. I think the potential for it to not conflict with as many things, it will be better. So we're going to try to host it. We're going to try to push it up to March. So for right now, I would say if you cannot attend April 30th, then you cannot attend, right? Like just that's the sad truth. And then if for some reason you can let me know, just like you did, that you could attend if it was May 1st, or you potentially could attend if it's May 1st. I will certainly reach out. I mean, obviously, if it opens up a second day, I'll reach out to everybody anyway and say,
Thank you.
hey, just in case. But I think that's the way we have to move forward with it, just because there's no guarantee that the May date will open. I sure hope and pray that it does, and that we still have this 2-day huge thing, but we just don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So that's the first thing. And then this is how to register. So a lot of you have had these questions. I did send to your powers that be. So a lot of you have powers that be. So, Jacqueline has a power that be that plans this for us. So they're well aware of the date change and all of the list and all that stuff. But if you Hartford County has Audrey. So you guys may have people that are planning this for you. Some of you do not have that. You are the power to be. You are the person that would register your people. So this is how you're going to register. And here, this link at the top here is that link of individuals who are getting paid for free. And on that list are you guys. Okay, so let me just click on this real quick and open it up just to show you. All of the teachers will get to go for free. So you can see this is the list of everybody that has competed, everybody that applied to be a state officer, and then all of the teachers, all of you guys. So you guys are all getting paid will be getting paid your registration to be able to go. If you are not able to go or whatever, just let me know. But that is, or if you're planning for your school not to be able to go, then let me know. We can, I can make note of that. But how you register is you would use the registration link to register your students, which is, the link that's on the flyer. It's the regular link. You can register up to 15 students at each time. So like little batches of students. And if you're a school that has a paid for person, so you will definitely have that's already paid for, right? You'll just need to register yourself separately from your students, and you will send your invoice to me. So it says in there like who to send the invoice to near the end of, you click on send invoice, and then who to send it to. You will actually have that sent to me, and then I will make sure that the grant pays that to the state, to Towson, to pay that. And then if you have students that have also been chosen to be paid for because of their participation, same thing. Like you could register them with yourself. So like if you have 4 students and yourself that are going to be quote unquote free because the grant is paying for them, you'll register them in one bulk, 4-person registration, have that invoice sent to me, and then the other invoice will be sent to you or to whoever needs to pay that, right? So this is an important page. So remember this page when you go to register for the conference, because you will need to know how to do that. I do understand that there are a lot of financial constraints. I mean, I know busing is an issue. It's an added cost. I know that, even paying for this conference is an expense that counties and school systems are struggling to approve at this point. My own daughter, who is a 7-year, she's been teaching for 7 years. She was just involuntarily transferred because her small, tiny little school had 4 cuts. So 4 teachers out of, I think they have a staff of 22. So 4 teachers were cut, and they're going to be down to literally like 2 classes per grade level or something. And so, and her school is tiny. And she's not brand new. So it had gotten to that point where she was one of the ones that got cut. So I understand that there are definite stressors across the counties, across the entire state, really across the nation, right? Let's be honest, with all of these budgetary constraints. Just know that this is well worth the investment. I know those of you that have gone can, toot the horn for this conference. These kids get so much out of it, and you as a teacher, really, it is. Speaking from a teacher leader standpoint, and having brought my kids before, it was well worth it for me to see my kids grow in that capacity, have these professional development, have that excitement, be with other people that wanted to be teachers. It just really is worth it. So if you can, argue that to your powers that be, or, find some funding for this to happen, I think it is well worth it. But I do also understand that, we have bigger fish to fry in those counties sometimes. And so it's one of those things. And unfortunately, we are in the day of financial crunches. It's just everywhere, right? It's not even just in schools. It's like the electric bill, right? It's everything is like really crunchy in terms of finances. We do have a sponsorship packet here if anybody would like to kind of hawk that for us. I have been working really hard since our last meeting to try to get every single student in the grant covered for the conference. All 410 of these students, to try to get them all paid to be able to, to be able to go to this and have a free registration. And I just was not able to do that. Again, businesses are really, really crunchy too, so they're not sponsoring things as easily as they had in the past. So it is just. It is what it is. It's disappointing and I'm sad about it, but I really tried hard to get some sponsorship I needed about $20,000 to be able to pay for everybody to go. That was outside of what the grant would cover. And I obviously wasn't able to come up with that. So, this is the list of the people that either made the top 10. So basically, this is the list of free registrations, right? So just make sure as you look at this list that it has everybody that did those things. And if there's a discrepancy, let me know, because this is the list that we're going off of for, obviously paying for those registrations. Apparently I have that slide on there twice. National conference updates. Go back real quick. That's a national conference t-shirt. I love it. I love that it has a big mountain on it. Back to my home, because I'm from Seattle, Washington, and we have mountains, real mountains everywhere. My husband says that these Allegheny mountains are mountains, but they're not really. They look more like hills to me. But anyway, if you're considering going to the conference, you could be a judge, and if you sign up to be a judge for the competitions, you get free registration, so you get to attend the conference for free. So that's something I would encourage you to do. It is also a really great learning experience to be in a competition, national competition. I know that some folks from PG County last year did that, and Connie, she learned so much. She got really excited about competitions because of her time in judging. So if you're interested in that, these are the links to go ahead and fill out to be a judge. There are national airline discounts that are posted. So if you're considering going to nationals, there are discounts for these three airlines that you can get discounts for. So that's here. This is the information about registering, all the hotels, all the stuff that you need to know about nationals. Obviously, it's in Portland. National implementation started a training center. And this is just a reminder that you can still check it out. I just wanted to keep it on here. So check it out and see, give some feedback. That would be great. So the NEA professional development, we spoke about this last time and I called it micro credentials, and I was very confused. I did a lot of I finally got things figured out with this. So here's the deal. It is not micro credentials that they are, that you can qualify for. It is basically just professional development. They are independent study courses that you can take and you will get CPD credit for. So it's Mentor Teacher 101, Mentor Teacher 101 Part 2. Both of these have a CPD component, meaning they will give you credit for it that you could use for, for certification and all that kind of stuff. If you're an NEA member, it is free to use. So you basically will go on and access this is how you do it. So just like information, you go in here, you make up a site, you put in your NEA membership. They will verify it. The courses will be free. If you are not an NEA member, I can give you a code so that those courses would be free. So you can just go through this process. And if it turns out that you're not a member and that you don't, that you just don't have an NEA membership or whatever, then I can get a coupon code for you to take those courses for free. I just need to email it to you. So that's just, some CPD for free. That's kind of good to have, right? Merit program. The second semester merit students have attended orientations. Teachers have attended orientations. I need my merit teacher leaders to just verify this, take a look at this, to basically do these things. So check this list for accuracy, send an email to me saying that they are, good candidates to participate, that you approve that they participate. And then remind students to kind of get started and do all of the things. Okay. So if you are a teacher leader that has students doing the merit program, please just make sure that you've done this. That would be great. Just so you know, the merit program this semester is going to be giving out over $50,000 to our students, which I'm so excited about because we have over 100 students participating. So that's going to be $50,000 from this grant going right into students' pockets, which I think is amazing and so well worth it for them to do that. And then this is just more information about the merit program. So if you didn't happen to jump on board this school year, for next school year, you can take a look at these things to get more information. Again, it will be offered again for the fall and the spring for next school year for you and your students if you're part of the grant. And then just a little fun stuff going on around Maryland. Again, make sure you guys share this stuff with me because I love to see this. The Educators Rising in Caroline County made goodie bags for the nursing home. And look at these, they're so cute. Look at the bags and all the stuff that they did handmade cards and lacing hearts with them for Valentine's Day for the residents at Caroline Nursing Home in Denton, Maryland. So that is so fun. What a wonderful community service project. And then this is the competition that was held in Harford County. Really great turnout for them. And again, I have to give a shout out to Harford County because they pulled this get together in literally a couple weeks. They were able to, get a space, a school to do it in. They got judges, they got them trained, and then they, set up a schedule. They did the whole thing, and it went really, really well. So I'm really proud of Harford County for doing that. And just kind of a plug to host these competitions. I know it seems like a lot of work, but in reality, it ends up being really convenient for your students to participate because it's like in your county, right? They don't have to go somewhere else. So what happened was their transportation was pulled from their county and they were not going to be able to attend the Howard County site. And so they had a lot of students that were really disappointed that had either already started their bulletin boards or, really were working on them or planning to do this. And so I said, well, the only other way that you could do it is host it yourself. I mean, if they can't get there, then maybe you have it at a school locally and they can get there that way. And they said, okay. And all of those teachers stepped up to help. It wasn't just, the coordinator, Audrey. The teachers were like, we can do this. One person contacted the school, another person got judges. They worked together as a team and they pulled this off. So if you're thinking about having, or if one of the barriers for you to having your kids compete in competitions is your kids getting to, in-person competitions, this is a good solution to host it at a site that's convenient to them, and then they can attend. So that was awesome. That was in Harford County. And then in Howard County, also another successful day. Same thing. Megan from Montgomery County, you think we don't even really have a Howard County school in the grant. So why was it in Howard County? Well, Megan from Montgomery County couldn't get a school site. So she, none of the schools were available to give her space. So she thought outside the box and talked to the library in the county where she lives in, which is Howard County. And she got space in Howard County, which is pretty close to Montgomery County. So we had Montgomery County students there, Howard County students there. We had who aren't part of the grant, but were our students in the chapters, and even PG County. So again, she made it more convenient for her students to be able to attend because the competition originally was going to be in Worcester County, which her kids could not attend because that would be too far for her. So she held the same competitions on the same day, just in a location that was closer to her. And then I don't have pictures from Worcester County, but it was really successful. I wasn't at that one, and Libby was, and she forgot to take pictures. How could she forget? And then one other thing that I really want to highlight is that in Harford County, they have Audrey Voss, who is amazing in Harford County. Anybody from Harford County will tell you that she is their she's in charge of like overseeing all of the she's in charge of something called Teach HCPS. Like, so she's having overseeing kind of the grow your own process, right? And she's doing an amazing job. What she did, which is really exciting, really cool, and think about an idea for you to do, is she took students that competed in their, their category, which was Ed Rising Moment, right? She took them to the leaders. You know how like your admin meets once a month, the whole county gets together and all the principals meet. She took them to an admin meeting. She asked for some time to share what was going on in Harford County. They said sure, whatever. She brought them there to share their speeches with the admins across the entire county. That shed a light on, number one, what these students are doing and how amazing this is, but also for that administration at each of those schools to say, this is so great. These are going to be our future teachers that we hire, right? Because admin has an investment in this program, right? Because they need teachers to backfill. And so she took these students to these administrators, had them do their Ed Rising Moment live for them. She shared with them the rubric that they were graded on so that they could see for themselves, how well they did, and how, because they scored in first place, the different kids in different categories. And that was such a great event and such a good outreach. They also then got to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting. And they even gave input to the leaders as they were talking and having questions. Students were able to share their viewpoint, which is huge, right? Administration needs to hear what the students think. So this was amazing. And so the principals, the admins loved having the students there. The students had an incredible learning opportunity and professional development by being in a room with all the leadership, hearing what they're talking about, discussing, all of that for their school system. So I think this was just really, really cool. And I am so proud that Harford County was able to do that. So it's just an idea for you guys, because like I would love to see all of us do this, right? This is important work. And I think that that the admin needs to know what's happening in these schools. And to see this kids firsthand is so great. So, just kind of a note on the curriculum. Things are winding down in terms of competitions and that sort of thing. If you haven't had a chance to look at the curriculum, now is the time. I'm gonna, need some feedback from you to kind of look at the curriculum and teach a lesson and just see how you think it is. Think it works. We can't use it in Maryland, and I do understand that. But Ed Rising as a whole would love to just hear from us in terms of, what we think about the curriculum. So this is the link to the crosswalks. And if you don't remember what these crosswalks are, I'm gonna open this up. See if do I have a picture of it? No, I don't. So the crosswalks are something that I worked really hard on over the summer, and basically tied it to your courses. So like if you teach TAM 1 and you click on the TAM 1 course here, you'll see that all of the things that you teach for TAM are listed here on the left, right? And then all of the things to the right are the things that Ed Rising can support you in that category for. So, right, so there's like Kaplan, magazine articles, and then there's a curriculum over all the way to the right. And you click on those curriculum links, and you will actually come directly to a lesson that you could teach on that subject. And that's for all of your courses. So like all the TAM courses and then all the CDA courses too. So there's like a tie-in, a crosswalk to what you have to teach for the CDA, and then what lessons counter, like that would supplement that, would be an equivalent to that you could use. And then the green column is all the free things. So like right now we have access to this curriculum, which is really great because that's just paid for by the grant and it's free. But once that goes away and we don't have access to the curriculum anymore, we still have these free items here in the middle, the green item, the green column that you will always have as a member of Ed Rising to be able to use. So I implore you to take a look at this crosswalk again and remember how you can use it in your program and how it ties to your program. Because, like I said, they're going to ask for some feedback from you. And I'm going to be asking some feedback from you about what just things that we might be able to change or improve or whatever for people that do use it as either as a resource or as their core curriculum. And then this page is just some of the links to the podcast, the hot topics, the teaching channel videos, the Cap Amazing. This page is all of the free things that you can utilize as a teacher leader and that your students have access to as members. And these all are just so great, like so many things connected to current topics. Like I know if you're using a book or if you're using something, like things seem to be outdated, right? There's no information on AI in the book that was in my classroom for Montgomery County. Obviously didn't even exist back then. You may not even be using a book. So these are some things that are very current, really engaging for the students because they're concepts and ideas about now, podcasts, articles, teaching channel videos, all of this stuff that's really current research and that sort of thing. And then the last thing, I just want to remind you that there are these monthly coaching calls. And that's the thing where I was talking to you guys about where I'd love to have somebody come and speak, from Maryland and talk about, their experience with the curriculum at this point. But they are offered every month, and she's amazing. She is my supervisor, Debbie, and she focuses on something from the curriculum every month and kind of shares out good ideas and ways that you can put it into your program and really build it. It's not just Maryland, it is nationally. So she's talking to and speaking with people that use the curriculum across the entire country. And in many cases, they use it as their core curriculum, right? So they don't have TAM, they actually use the Ed Rising curriculum as their curriculum. And their state has, will even give them college credit in some cases for the Ed Rising curriculum. So, they've done articulation agreements and stuff. So they basically have Ed Rising as their TAM, so to speak. So if you can ever attend these, I would encourage you to do that because they are so, so informative and just really help with that knowledge of the curriculum and being able to use it. So we're to the action item section of the slide deck. And the big thing is I am working on recruitment. So if you know of schools or if you're aware of schools in your county that would love to do this, somebody that would be great, another teacher leader somewhere that's interested in an Rising chapter, let me know. Spaces will fill up fast. And if you're in the current grant year, like right now you guys are, you are automatically, as long as you're in good standing, you're automatically renewed for next year. But you do have to do, a new yearly agreement thing that we'll have for you ready probably in the next month or so. So just let me know if for some reason you do want to drop off, like you just don't want to do it anymore, then please just let me know that too. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But small list of action items here, thankfully, right? It's getting to that time of year. March meeting attendance link is here, and I'm going to actually drop it in the chat so that you guys have an easier way to fill it out. I can get it. Let me grab the link here, drop it in the chat. This is the attendance link. Again, it's super important you guys be filling out this attendance link. That's the only that attendance link spreadsheet I send to the grant people directly. So they check it to make sure everybody's attending. So if you can't attend this meeting, if you're watching this on video, make sure you fill out the attendance sheet, even if you watched it on video, okay? And then encourage students, please encourage them to attend that student to student, that one about paying for college. I want as many students as possible to hear all these great ideas about how to pay. And then plan to attend to the Maryland conference if you if there's any way possible you can get there, please plan to get there. Even if it's just you, there's learning in that too. And then the merit teachers, you have a little bit longer list. I just need for you to make sure that keep track of your students and that I have the correct list of all your students and and then who has attended the orientations and all of that stuff, because there's a list there for that. And then here's a scan code for the meeting